Welcome to this week's episode of Roadmap. I'm your host, Rach, and today I'm joined by Brandon Malambo, who is a senior developer here at Autotrader, and he's here today to chat to us about an app he's been working on called Palm Tree. And he's going to be chatting to us about how this idea came around, why it's really important, and what he's learned along the way in building this out. So welcome, Brandon.
Thank you very much. How you doing? Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. What about yourself?
Good, yeah. Better for the sunshine, which we've just been chatting in length about. So yeah, today's going to be a very bright backdrop to today's episode. Before we get going, it'd be really good just to get an understanding of who you are, what you do at Autotrader, how you got into software development as well, because you're one of our developers here at Autotrader who work in the apps team. So how did this all come around?
So I am a senior mobile app engineer at Autotrader. So I've been doing this for about 5 years. I used to be in technical support. So I was taking calls, speaking with dealers, and I transitioned into development by getting myself a mentor.
Yeah. And what drew you to software development? Because that's quite a big career leap.
Yeah, so I wanted to build a website which is linked to my app, Palm Tree, and I kind of wanted to learn a bit. So I decided to get myself a mentor. He turned out to be an app developer. As we were learning, we just built like a little app project. It was like a Premier League table. So as I was building this with him and he was teaching me, I kind of grew a passion for app development, and I just thought, yeah, this is definitely something I wouldn't mind doing in the future.
Brilliant. So today's episode is all about an app that you're in the process of developing at the moment called Palm Tree. So it's currently live as a website, and you recently just launched this for Android. And you're in the process of getting this live for iOS. Tell me more about what this particular app is, how that idea has come around. How did you get into creating this from working with a mentor to then having this idea that you've now put into flight?
So Palm Tree is pretty much an app that I built because I thought I always had a few issues with finding Black-owned businesses, and I've always wanted to be in technology and see if there was a way to use technology to help a cause, to help fix a problem. And as you know, I've moved about a lot in my life. So I lived in Belgium, I moved to Manchester, London, Manchester again. And whenever I enter a new location, even when I go on holiday, there are certain products that I can only get from Black-owned businesses, but because I don't know where they are, it's always been quite difficult to find them. Like when you go on Google, there's a lot of adverts, and it's kind of like, do you need a bit of feedback? And it's always been an issue. So based on that, I just thought if I could build an app that can help people find them, that should fix a problem, then I'm technically using technology to fix an issue, then I'm building something that makes sense, and hopefully other people could benefit from this.
Definitely. What have been some of the challenges, because you said you've moved around. So before the app was created, what was it that you had to kind of go through that process of being able to find the right business and the right products and services?
So even, for example, just finding a barber, like, I don't know if you know, but barbers is probably the first name. When you get married, it's probably one of the first people you invite in certain scenarios. If you've got a good barber, he's coming to the wedding. So you don't just change barbers. So it's more like, when I moved to Manchester, I had to find a new barber, and I didn't know what to do. So I had to ask random people. Anyone that's got a nice haircut, say, hey, where did you cut your hair? Yeah. Then that kind of turned into, I shouldn't have to do that in order to find a good barber. I should just be able to pull up a phone and just find all the barbers. Even finding specific food. There's a lot of food that you don't find in Tesco that I prefer, because I'm Congolese. So there's a lot of food that I would like to eat that I can't just buy from Tesco. I need to find Black businesses that would sell those types of food space, pretty much.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think it's such a great idea as well, because it can be quite lonely when you move to a city. And if you are by yourself, sometimes that conversation with other people it's not that easy. Yeah. Like, you shouldn't have to feel like you should do that. 100%. So, yeah, it sounds like an effortless way of just being able to find things quickly, especially like if it's an emergency as well. Like, if you run out of ingredients or you don't fancy cooking tea.
Exactly.
Great idea. So what can the Palm Tree app do? So what specific functionalities does it have? What does it enable a user to be able to do when they launch it?
Yeah, so it's currently out on Android. And at the moment, one of the main issues I wanted, if you open up the app within 5 seconds, you should be able to see any Black-owned businesses near you. So there's like an app that kind of shows all the Black-owned businesses, and you can kind of click on and see what they're about instead of doing a lot of research. And there is also I've also recently added the goal setting, a goal features, because I kind of wanted people to be able to set a monthly goal to kind of see, because when I was doing a few research before doing this, and a lot of people said they wanted to spend more, and I thought if you can kind of gamify the app, kind of enable people to kind of set goals. Let's say this month I want to spend £100 in the Black community. On every time that you invest money in the Black community, you can manually add that information, keep track of your goals until you hit your target. And being able to do that monthly could potentially get people to want to do this all the time.
Like an incentive.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea, especially because it's local businesses as well a lot of the time. And day to day, we're spending a lot of money in big corporate companies. If you think about like Amazon and like, big companies like that. So yeah, it sounds like a great incentivization for people. How did you come up with that initial concept? Because you did mention that you did a few surveys, you've done a bit of discovery before kind of created it. What was that process like?
Oh, it was so definitely that year I just thought, you know what, I'm going to try do something different, do something that scares you. So I thought, you know what, because I go gym a lot, I see a lot of people, so I created the surveys with questions, and I was kind of, while people are working out, while they're trying to recover out of breath. So you know what, why don't you fill out the survey while you're resting?
Rest time.
Quick for a second. It got it done. So there's a few questions like, can you name 5 Black-owned businesses? If you don't spend in the Black community, why not? I kind of wanted to get what do people think, because I didn't want to just go, okay, spend money in the Black community. I kind of wanted to understand why. Basically, with the answers of those questions, I wanted to basically use the result of the survey to build technology to try to fix those issues.
Yeah.
So that's how that kind of came about. And I got a lot of, because a lot of people people's reaction was like, can you name 5 Black-owned businesses? People really struggle to do that. Then they were asking me, they don't know why, because it should be easy, as they are quite a lot. So kind of wanted to know, how easy is it to find? So that's what gave birth to the map where as soon as you open your phone, it shows you businesses near you. So you can't turn around to me and say, I can't name 5 Black-owned businesses, because there's an app that can answer that question for you.
Yeah. And what was their reaction when you described the app to them? Like, did you have a prototype? Or I've got a vision of you in the gym with just like a app on your phone or like a Figma design.
That is exactly what that looks like. I can probably find some old pictures, to be honest. So literally, that is how people reacted. They were just like, oh my gosh, that's really good.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want my question to kind of be like, force people to kind of say, oh, I need an app. This was more like asking general question and kind of say, okay, now I give them the app and opened it, and they were able to quickly go, oh, is this what I think it is? I'm saying, yes, it is.
Like,
you should
real
download
life
it.
reactions.
Yeah, it was just very interesting.
Yeah, brilliant. And I guess like what were the main themes you got out of the research? So you've mentioned the awareness of Black-owned businesses. Like, were there any other things that came out of that discovery process that maybe gave you a lot of perspective or help kind of challenge like some of the ideas that you were thinking about?
Yeah, 100%, because a few questions came out on pricing. Because again, I didn't want to build an app to kind of say, spend money in the Black community. I kind of wanted to know, are there things that businesses can do to improve themselves? I kind of wanted to get both from a business perspective on the customer. So pricing, because I feel like it's like vegan food, right? It can be pricier. If you're vegan, it's harder. It's a bit of a niche. So it's harder to find. So I found there was a lot of similarities with Black-owned businesses, and also in bigger cities like London, Manchester, it's easier to find them. But when you live in a town, it's a lot harder. So people kind of say, well, where I live, I don't know if there's anything in there. So pricing kind of made a question when even small businesses, they're always going to be, they tend to be a little bit pricey, because they kind of need to make a profit when you compare to a bigger company that can just kind of undercut the prices, and you can just produce in mass. While other businesses, if you make your candles at home, you need to have a different type of pricing. So it's more like I was trying to think of, is there a way to kind of translate that to the customer, make them understand why certain prices are this ways, or are there ways for business to justify some of the price, and should they have to? If it's black owned, does that mean it has to be cheap?
Yeah.
That was another question I was kind of asking people on seeing. Is quality was also called in questions, because can someone start a business and straight away price it at a certain level, or does it need to have a certain level of quality? But then when you go to a fancy restaurant and you come out, you spend £200 and you're still hungry because you've had 2 items, but it looked cute.
Yeah.
Is it more experience? Does experience play a key fact? And customer service was also an area that people really, the few things on customer service, they would like better customer service in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
So those definitely thing that made me think, how do I use technology to promote something like that?
Like surface that.
Yeah.
And I know there's things you're looking into, like reviews as well. Like, how's that kind of helped?
Reviews. So I got feedback from people that have downloaded the app. It's kind of say they really like the concept. They want more businesses on there. They're kind of asking for other features. I'm trying to use that to prioritize which one I can focus on.
Yeah.
On get that out there. App reviews, like, reviews are important. People like to see what the other people think. You always look for that. You scroll 5-star review. I want to know what a 1-star review I had to say. And is it a genuine review, or is it just someone was not happy about something that didn't really reflect the 1-star review?
Yeah, you just know that they've been like that one person, or like you just know that they've been like unreasonable as well.
Exactly,
when they describe the situation, you're like, I don't think that's how it probably happened.
Exactly. So like, come on.
Brilliant. So what's the launch been like? What's been the reactions of some of the businesses that you've worked with? Because I know that you've networked quite a lot at various different events. Like, what's been that reaction from a business perspective? How's that helped them?
So I'd say, because it's nice to kind of see more like a technology kind of getting involved, because a lot of businesses might not have, if when you're a startup, you might not have some IT, not everybody's got on like an IT team, not everybody knows how to use websites. So it's nice, it's been nice to kind of see people pretty much saying, oh, I don't have a website, or I don't know how much I should invest, or an app, I would love to be on an app, because Apple and Android kind of dominate that market, and everybody's got access to that platform. So that would pretty much open them up to billions of users instantly, technically, when you think about it.
Especially in a city like even Manchester, for example. Like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head how many people must live here or commute here every day as well.
Exactly,
so if you're commuting, if you're here on business, like, people travel quite a lot if you're here for the weekend. Just instantly how you can connect people together to that really raises people, like, businesses' exposure. Brilliant. Has there been any business in particular that like you've really enjoyed working with or like networking with? Is there anyone that you might want to give a shout out to, or
there's quite a few, because I've been let me just quickly check, because I've been on because I've been going to a few black events here. For example, I'd say maybe Melanin Markets.
Yeah.
Because that's an event that kind of promote. They had an event literally just here last year. So they pretty much do events with business stands, and you can Bianca is kind of one of the leaders, and you can pretty much, as a business owner, instead of like having a specific day where people that don't know where to find black-owned businesses, you can have a stand, you can market your business, whether it's food, whether it's technology, and it's just been really nice to see the community really get together, because it's a place where, like, you as a person, you're just walking through town and you just see what's going on here. You can just walk through and just like, I did not know this was happening, and there's a lot of music. You just really promote just the black environment. I think Melanin Market is probably one of the most supportive, because I've seen how they've started around the same time, and seeing the growth, getting to work with company like Black Pound there as well. So they've been on the so Millennium Market's been on the radio as well. So radio newspapers, and I got the opportunity to work with them on the last project that was literally at this building at home.
At home, yeah. Excellent. So what has the progress been like? Because there's been a lot of positive stories that you've been able to get out of creating an app, but I'm sure there's the reality of creating apps as well. How's that been? Have you learned anything? Because I know when we were talking about this episode, there's definitely been some challenges from an iOS perspective. What is that reality? So if anybody's kind of listening at home, like what would be some advice you could give to them when they're thinking about the concept of an app? Because like it feels pretty, like just even the idea, like I think everybody like goes through that process of like, I've got an idea of like a website or how to create it. And I didn't realize until like I've started working here and we've been having chats about the podcast episode, like how many different processes there actually are. Like how do you navigate that?
Yeah, so there's been time where I felt like I've lost weight because of the amount of coding I was doing. Of course, because obviously I was still, because I'm an Android developer specifically, so Android uses one programming language called Kotlin, iOS uses Swift UI. So I've played about with different technology. Fun fact is I've restarted Palm Tree from scratch 3 times using different technologies, and each of them have just been quite challenging. I think one of my issues is probably like when I find something exciting, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to try this. Then as soon as I see something else, I'll just jump on that. So I'd say on one advice, I'd say to stick to, if you have an MVP, just minimum viable product, just focus on this, getting this out. And I try to do the Android on the iOS at the same time. So I kind of had to learn a new programming language. That's like, imagine you learn English and now you go, okay, now I'm going to write a novel in Spanish.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I try to do. I still cannot speak Spanish as well. So I just focused on the English first, then I slowly took my time. And also Android and Apple have different, what can I say? Different priorities. Like Apple, you have to pay, as a developer with Apple, you have to pay £80 for the whole year. It's like a license to be able to place apps, as many apps as you want on the App Store. While Android is like, I think it's like one-off £25 and you're okay. So on Apple, I go to a stage where, okay, I've got an MVP on the app, I'm ready to launch, then I release it, and the app kind of ended up getting rejected. Yeah, so that's another thing. When you're building a website, you're kind of bound to their rules in a way, because kind of like if they reject your app for specifically, there is a good reason why they rejected it, but the feedback that you get sometimes, it can be a bit, you're not too sure what that means. So you read it, it's like, okay, let's say your app's been rejected because there's not enough minimal native functionalities. Right. And you'll read this, you're like, okay. But then they'll also give you, here is a list of websites and videos that you can watch. And I'm there. Yeah. But each of these videos like 40, 50 minutes long or something like that. So you're like,
you're like, which one's actually the best one?
I watch all these videos. I'm just like, I still don't know what I need to do. So it was a bit of a challenge. So you kind of, because you publish it again, then they say, no, still not right. And that's about as much feedback you will get. Until I've recently found out that you can also reach out to them and you can have a full conversation with them. You can actually book a meeting, which I ended up doing last week.
Is that free as well to do?
Yeah, that is free.
Part of the subscription.
Yeah, that is free. You pay £80, but that's kind of what you get. So speaking to them, it was just nice. It was a much better experience. It kind of gave me actual feedback, because it's one of those, I need to understand what is the minimum requirement to get this out. Because when you look at my app, I feel like I'm meeting this, but you're saying, no, it doesn't. So I got some really good feedback on this. This has definitely improved my experience. But like I said, when you sometimes they've just got their list of requirements, kind of say, well, chapter 2 of this, you don't meet this, so do something about it. And that's as much as it looks like, because whenever they do, it's always a different person that reviews your app. So you're not speaking the same person. So you can have 10 people review your app and you can see the history. So, it's been rejected. They can look at it on their rejected. And
It's all
also,
subjective.
yeah,
as
and if you
well.
have 2 issues on your app,
Yeah.
they'll fail you at the first one. Then you fix it, you'll upload it again, then they will see
Lord.
the second one. So this definitely slowed down my work a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest issue on iOS. Yeah.
Why is it so different from Android? Like, why do you think Apple's got this process that is super tight, and yet Android, which is another really popular app, it's like quite a popular functionality. Why do you think they're so different as platforms?
I'd say probably Apple, they do want to improve the quality of the apps that get on there. I think there's probably a lot of more apps that might not be as when it's no one to say good. It depends if you're on Android or on iOS. It's one of the things like they want to increase the quality of apps that are out there. But at the same time, I can see some apps and I feel like my app is better than this, but because it kind of met certain requirement, that app is on the App Store. So I think it's probably to do just quality on. They've got like there's just 2 different companies, different vision, I would say. And it's more as an Android developer, I might not understand the iOS ways, but I can't say that the feedback that they give was there was a need for it. It's pretty much the way you get the feedback that could be a bit more information could have helped if I had to be honest. Yeah.
Well, that explains why it's like £80 a year, because it probably takes you a year to publish an app.
And I've already paid, right? So it's like if I've already paid, I'm like, but my app
Keeping
is
you
not on there.
onboarded.
I'm just paying, but my app is not out there. So
I guess, like, are there any pros to iOS? Because you mentioned like it's great that you've been able to connect with somebody to discuss these issues. So as part of that subscription, like when you get to speak to somebody, like that advice sounds great. So I guess it's not all bad news. Like, is that more of a positive thing versus like the support you might get for Android? Is that a similar thing? Like if you could reach out to somebody there?
So I've not had to go down that route for Android, so I can't fully answer that. But it's more like, again, getting that extra feedback was better, because until before that, my app, fun fact, my app has been rejected 8 times. On every time I was getting the same feedback. It still doesn't meet this criteria. And in my head, let's say it can take a lot to build a brand new feature, depending on how deep you want to go into. Because I decided to add a map because I thought, okay, if I add a map, it's going to add more native feature, and it still got rejected. But that takes a while to build something like that. Then in my head, I'm thinking, okay, if I wanted to add some type of new feature that involves a lot of things, let's say feedback features, reviews. What if I add this, then the later one they go, well, if you're going to have reviews, you need to regulate. Then I need to, what does that mean? I need to enable people to, let's say, report negative messages on everything. All of this just adds up. So this is why I wanted to speak to them first before deciding to invest so much time and effort into that.
Which links back to your previous point, like if you can keep it MVP, like start really low fidelity and then work from there.
Exactly.
That'll help you navigate that. Is there like a community for iOS developers as well? Because I imagine there's probably quite a lot of people in the same boat when they're thinking about apps. Is there like a forum or ways that people can get together? Share problems.
Yeah, the good thing about developers, there's a lot of developers community. There's a lot of stuff on the internet where people kind of share ideas and tips on things like that. Even on Apple's official website, there's a lot of communities. More like knowing that those communities exist. Google is your friend. I think developers, most of the work is done on Google, if I have to be honest. Yeah, there's communities that help each other. But again, I still got stuck 7 times in a row. Yeah. Even though I was in those communities getting all the feedback. So it just really depends on my understanding of why they rejected it. On just sometimes just the clarity in the initial messages, until I spoke to someone, because I had an idea, but they kind of clarified, okay, so if I build ABC, this should be enough.
Definitely. Do you find that you're learning things as you're building the app that you can take to your role at Autotrader? Because I appreciate, like, you have a day job as well as a business as well. So are there things that you're learning through building this app out that you can take to your learnings in your role at Autotrader?
Yeah, 100%. Because you get to work with different things that I might not get to work with an Autotrader. So if Autotrader could be focusing on a specific feature, that means, because let's say if we're building a lot of stuff on the user backend to frontend thing at the moment, so we build something on the server and we release it. So that means I don't always get to build a lot of native features, like something that's Android specific and even iOS specific. So it's nice when you randomly pick up something, then whenever something else comes up and you're like, oh, I've actually built this 2 weeks ago when I was working on my app, so I know exactly how it works. It just speeds up the process sometimes. So I feel like working on Palm Tree has definitely made me a better developer, because you've got a project, kind of say, okay, I need to do this. What do I need? I need a database. So I always hit like a wall. Then I'm like, in order to hit this wall, I need to learn something new, and I can just use that. Then I'm learning things that I didn't think I would need. Then later on, I have to do this at work, and I'm like, oh, I've done this already, so I know how to do it.
Practiced it.
Yeah, 100%.
I often find with like coding and software as well, like it must be so difficult to learn things in theory. Like we always say in like product and tech, where it's like, oh, the concept sounds great and the framework is there, but the reality of the situation is not always perfect, or it doesn't go as smoothly. So yeah, definitely a big fan of practicing. Yeah,
me too.
Cool. So how are you finding like balancing your day job at Autotrader and having a business? How do you make sure you're setting the right boundaries for yourself? Because I imagine, like, I've got a vision of you like logging off and then just logging into your app like after work.
Yes, it is very challenging, because it just depends on like my level of passion on the day. Because like you mentioned, it can be, because I wear glasses, I'm spending my whole day looking at a screen. Then I get home, I'm like, I've got an idea, I have to try it. Then I'm carrying on. So it can definitely go from this, I've not eaten just because, just one more little thing. So it's good. I've recently started managing it more like, let's say every week I only want to spend a specific hour on work. So I started doing stuff in the morning, like before I start work, so that at least it's out the way, because I go to the gym as well. So in my head I'm thinking, I need to be able to go gym, go to work on Palm Tree, on putting enough. I just need enough energy. That is the thing. I think if you're better at managing your time, and also, let's say the business is like initially kind of started as a side project. On the way, one good advice that was given is, as long as you look at it as a side project, it's only going to be a side project until you decide to, okay, now I need to really put in a lot more effort into this. Enjoy life as well, because it can be very the sun's beautiful. I'm trying to go outside. I don't want to just stay home all day coding. I would like to go outside and enjoy the sun.
Exactly. Also, you don't get Wi-Fi outside, so you can't do much.
Exactly.
I think it's so important that you gain as much as you get out of things. But boundaries are so important. And I don't know about you, but we work in incredibly busy industries. Like product and tech is probably one of the busiest roles out there. So just having the space to yourself to get away from a screen without your eyes hurting, because I get the eye thing as well.
Yeah, I get that too. Yeah,
I feel like sometimes I step outside and I realise I've been sat at a computer all day, and when the light hits you and like your retinas burn, and
you
feel really like trippy when you're walking through Manchester. I'm like, it's because I've not had a break from my desk today. Like,
exactly, because everything's just literally this close, so your eyes are just not used to enjoying a view.
Like fake light. Brilliant. So I guess as we're closing the episode off, have you firstly, what's coming up in the future that you've got lined up that you can reveal?
What can I reveal? So good news is after I had a lovely chat with iOS reviewers, I submitted my app again.
Yeah.
It got rejected,
Oh.
but for a different reason. So it passed that part, but now
Yeah.
they've kind of given me another permission. It's literally a text that I need to change. So hopefully, fingers crossed,
This will be
again,
coming to an app store.
iOS app should
Very
potentially be revealed, as long as they don't find any more issues.
Yeah.
But like, I've gone past my biggest trial in history of my short history of iOS development. But yeah, so I've had positive news from them. Just once that's out the way and there's nothing else, hopefully the iOS app will be out. And again, there's a lot more users on iOS, so it would be nice to kind of be able to just download it on.
Yeah.
I would be very happy to.
Hopefully by the time this episode is out, that will be fixed and there'll be no more like different issues.
Yeah, because it contains a nice feature where whenever you visit a business, there's a check-in function. You can kind of go, I was here. Then you can go back later and kind of say, oh, I was here, I spent X or Y, Z amount of money. This is my little review. And it's nice. And you can see a list of all the places that you've been. So it's nice to be like, oh, where was that place I went to? Or you can kind of see your list of reviews and pretty much say, oh, I was there. Did I enjoy it? Or you can pretty much go, oh, I didn't really have a good time. Should I try it again? Kind of see if there's a better experience, or do I just want to try something else? So that would be a very nice feature.
Yeah.
For people.
Also really useful as well, because you know when people visit or like your friend comes to Manchester and they're like, oh, where shall we go?
Yeah.
And I can never remember the names of places as well.
Exactly.
I'm like, I know it's on that street somewhere. Like, let's just go in that direction. And like, there's just places everywhere in Manchester as well. Like the layout is ridiculous sometimes.
It is, yeah.
Especially as someone who doesn't actually live here as well. And everyone's like, oh, you got any suggestions? So yeah, that is a super useful feature.
I'm glad you like it. This is the type of feedback I need. Yeah, this is good. Fingers crossed.
Also, I like leaving reviews as well, because I just feel like it's a good deed. Unless I am that one person that might just be...
I was having a fantastic time until...
I do love that on Google reviews. You know, when you, because you mentioned earlier, like you just go by the most negative reviews. Sometimes if I've got I don't know if this is like a confession or if I'm the only person that does that, but do you ever sort by negative reviews first? Just to see what 100%. Drama there is?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We have to, because...
And just like business responses as well. Like there's just some absolute like golden...
Love it's so beautiful stuff. Yeah. Customers always right. That's what I hear, but
if they're being reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
So closing the episode off, have you got any sort of final like advice? So if there's somebody listening to the episode right now, what would be that parting wisdom that you'd share with them?
Yes, I would say if you do have a dream, don't be afraid to follow it. I'd say this palm tree idea that I had is what led me to becoming a developer, and now I'm a senior developer at Autotrader. I have an app on the App Store, so just follow your. When you have an idea, not everybody might see your vision, so you've got your eyes. Other people have their eyes. You've got your vision, but you can already see what that's going to look like. Make sure that you follow your dreams, and I said don't give up, because coding is challenging.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Like learning how to code can definitely, it will test you, but once you get through that, I feel like if you can code, you should be able to survive most things.
Yeah. And it opens up a lot of opportunities as well.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Does that mean you'll be moving to the iOS team at Autotrader anytime soon?
You are trying to start World War III in my team. Listen, I'm an Android developer, but I do have an iPhone. My manager is not going to allow me to do that, but I am an Android developer and I can't say anything else.
Love that. I like how we brought like internal work politics. Like potential drama. No, there's no drama.
No.
Wink. Like, they can see us winking. It's a video episode. I'm joking. Cool. Yeah, brilliant. Lovely to chat. Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully by the time this episode is out, Palm Tree will be on iOS.
I am praying.
I've got my fingers crossed.
You heard it here first.
Excellent. Yeah, well, that is it for this week's episode. Don't forget to like, rate, follow, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll catch you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.